Well, folks, today is the day the Eugene Carroll assault lawsuit against Donald Trump begins today. It's the one that I have been waiting for more than any other investigation or lawsuit that Donald Trump has been facing, because this one could prove that Donald Trump sexually assaulted a woman in the 1990s in a department store dressing room. And his lawyers, that stellar legal team that he has compiled to represent him in this case, to put it mildly, are in over their heads. Let's start with the very obvious, of course, and that is the fact that his lawyers have lost pretty much every single pretrial motion that they've filed. They were unable to get the court to ban the Access Hollywood tape. They were unable to convince the judge that the other women accusing Donald Trump of assault shouldn't be allowed to testify. They were unable to get the trial delayed a month because, Trump's in the news for not good stuff. Let's not do that. They were unable to convince the judge that the jury should not be anonymous. And of course, most recently, Joe Tacopina was unable to convince Judge Lewis Kaplan that he should accept Donald Trump's excuse to not show up because Donald Trump was worried he'd create traffic for New Yorkers, and that's just not nice. It's one thing to go into trial being over your head, right? I mean, hell, every good trial lawyer in this country will tell you a story of at least one case they've tried where they've walked in there, they were David up against Goliath, but they overcame it anyway. Just like David and Goliath. This is different because those lawyers with their David and Goliath stories don't walk in with, oh yeah, by the way, we lost every pretrial motion we filed. The judge basically hates us, and we're going up against everybody who already thinks we're a bunch of losers and liars. No, that doesn't happen, but it's happening today. Like, they're walking into that court having already pissed the judge off multiple times and failing every single time they tried to get the trial to go their way before it even begins. That's a bad record, and Trump is in serious trouble. And he's in serious trouble because he has such terrible, terrible lawyers. But maybe it's not all the lawyers' fault, right? I mean, they can only work with what they've been given, and what they've been given is the most unruly client that you could ever imagine as a lawyer. Like, Trump is the horror case scenario for a lawyer. He is the kind of client that no lawyer in their right mind would ever want to willingly take on. He cannot be controlled. He cannot be coached. He cannot be told, do say this, don't say that. Do not roll your eyes. You have to control your body language. Every single thing about you has to be a certain way. That's not the kind of guy Trump is. But that's what lawyers will tell their client when they walk into court. So even though, as I said, the judge said he is not going to tell the jury that Trump's not there because he's worried about traffic, Trump is still allowed to skip the trial, which is weird, right? Like, that's typically not something where the defendant, the judge is like, you ain't got to show up. You just do whatever. But Trump doesn't have to be there if he doesn't want to be. I mean, the trial begins today. He's got a rally in New Hampshire on Thursday, so we definitely know he's not going to be there on Thursday. But having him in that courtroom would be pretty much a guarantee that the guy's going to be found guilty by this jury. So the only thing that Trump's lawyers have going for them is that Trump may not be there every day, that he may not take the stand. Because if he starts showing up in that courtroom, he's a goner. If he takes the stand and tries to explain any of this away, he's a goner. Now, having said that, this is not necessarily a slam dunk for Eugene Carroll. The laws basically for her to be able to prove what she's trying to prove with her lawsuit are stacked against her. Now, that's not a knock on her credibility at all. I believe her. The question, though, is can she convince a jury that everything she's saying is accurate? Does she have the evidence to prove all of this? So that's what's going to be difficult. Obviously, Trump did not give his DNA sample, which was a big part of the case. That honestly would have been like the yes or no. That's all we really needed, but he wouldn't do it. We've got the other women to corroborate. We've got the witnesses who are not actually eyewitnesses, but witnesses to the story that Eugene Carroll told them after it happened, who advised her, by the way, to not pursue anything because he's a rich and powerful guy. And if you haven't taken the time to actually sit and read Eugene Carroll's full account of what happened, it is 100% convincing. Because she admits, and this was something I didn't know till I was able to recently go through the entire thing, she says that the two started off like chit-chatting. It's not like Trump just saw her out of the corner of his eye, then rushed her, and took advantage of her. No, they were chit-chatting. They were flirting a little bit, right? The conversation was getting a little, as flirting tends to go. And then Trump overstepped the bounds. So when you get all those details, you suddenly realize, like, it paints a very clear picture of what happened that day. So I believe her story 100%. Now, is she able to convince a jury, though? Because they can't just go on gut feelings. They have to be convinced with evidence, and hopefully the lawyers are able to do that. I really, really hope Eugene Carroll succeeds in all of this. But we've seen Trump get away with things before, and if he stays away from that courtroom, there's probably a pretty good chance that he gets away with this. The jury says you're not guilty, we're ruling in your favor, and then it's over. We won't know till it's over. It begins today, and it's going to be one hell of a show. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.